Probably the highlight of my career was being charged with one of the main implementers of DACA at USCIS after it was announced. The White House gave our agency 60 days to stand up the DACA program, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, and we were building something from scratch. And so we had just, thousands of decisions to make on a very, very short timeline, and had to work within many constraints and also make decisions that would be upheld by the law. 25 schools. My main role was really negotiating between the White House, the Department of Homeland Security, and the agency that I worked for, and bringing in all the diverse perspectives and figuring out ways to get the feedback and the input that we needed from the personnel at the agency, but do it in such a quick and responsive and thoughtful and legally viable way. And so that was, the challenge, I think, was just sort of bringing in all those voices, doing things in a way that was inclusive of diverse points of view, and trying to find a path forward to be able to execute in the 60-day time frame and execute well and stand up this program.
Effective immediately, the Department of Homeland Security is taking steps to lift the shadow of deportation from these young people,
which was going to be an uphill battle, but was going to be so critical in the fight for immigrant rights, and so meaningful in the lives of potentially millions of people. So we did end up, standing it up in a short period of time. In hindsight, definitely a highlight of my career was being able to work on that program. In terms of what was most challenging about implementing that historic program, there were two main sticking points. One was, whether to utilize the formal rulemaking process, and how to do that in a very quick time frame. And there were many different points of view on that had to be negotiated to find a path forward that was legally sound, but also one that allowed us to stand it up, quickly and effectively. The other main sticking point was something that we were just very aware of going into this, which was, because it was not a law made by Congress, we were concerned about the privacy of undocumented individuals coming forward and revealing all of their personal information to the government, and what would be done with that information. And we were, wanting to give privacy assurances to people in order to, make them feel comfortable coming forward and sharing all that information with the government. But we knew at the same time that we would not be in office forever, and that a new president would be elected, and that would be a vulnerability, that we couldn't give assurances, past the point of Obama being the president. And so we just had to navigate that very carefully and give assurances that we could offer, but at the same time be clear that we had, constraints in that.